Hello YouTubes, this is Grimweird coming back at you with more Enigmatica 2 Expert Mod Pack playthrough action for Minecraft 1.12.2. So I've been doing a lot of crafting recently and I thought I sort of needed a break. I felt like I needed to switch things up a bit. So one of the things I've been interested in ever since I started playing this again and saw Ice and Fire and heard that there were Tier 4 and Tier 5 dragons underground and possibly things like trolls and other interesting things like that. I wanted to, find some and get into them, but I haven't had any luck finding them just, with my normal exploration. So I'm still trying to figure out a way to use the scanner to find things. And one of the things that finally occurred to me, which probably should have occurred to me a long time ago, is that any place like that that I'm interested in going is probably going to have chests. And so what I've done here is I have made a scanner that scans for chests. And then I've been running around the countryside, and you can see here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There are basically 14 chests in two little areas underground here. And then the scanner is set up for Fire Dragon, which I'm not 100% sure it works on it yet. I basically got it by right-clicking. If we take a look at how these are set up, if we shift right-click, I've got two range modules in each, of course, but then I've also got this one. It's a block scanner, and it's set up for chest. And then if we take a look at the other scanner, shift right-click, it is a entity module. Configured entity as Fire Dragon. So if I come up here, if I do this again, so here's the chest one, and I've been flying around, especially at night, doing this for about 10 minutes, and there are tons of little areas with 3 or 4 chests in them. This is one of the bigger ones that I've found. And now if I scan for Fire Dragon, I'm not really seeing anything, so I doubt there's a dragon down there. However, I'm still sort of interested. Maybe there's a troll down there. Maybe it's something, more boring. But since we're sort of invincible and can fly and yada yada, I'm just going to go ahead and just tunnel straight on down. Now, obviously, if I wasn't invincible and all of that stuff, I wouldn't be doing this. And this is probably some sort of standard dungeon kind of thing. But it's really only going to take us a few minutes here to dig down and see if we can find anything here. So let's scan for chests again. Oh, and we are about there, so it's not even that far down, so this might be just some sort of generic kind of dungeon. Yeah. But still, I mean, there might be some interesting stuff in here. Grab that bee just in case we need to get into bees again. Iridium shards. Dark steel. There's some stuff here. There's some spawners. Capacitor of holding might be good. Knock it off. I love my laser gun. So we've obviously got some spawners around here. Yeah, so nothing we haven't really seen here before because we are... Oh, hey, look, there's something that Minotaur on the left is Mythos. And that's the one thing, if we take a look here, for Mythos stuff and things that give Mythos aspect, it doesn't list anything. So I have no Mythos. I haven't had a need for Mythos, but it's an important safety tip that if, like, say, you're doing some research and it calls for that, the Ice and Fire manuscripts apparently have that, even though they don't show it there. So that was that little bit of information. If nothing else, it was cool. Golden apple, I should take that. Alright. That's enough of that. Y'all can just die. Leave me alone. And these are things that that's the only thing I'm going to find out here that I'm really interested in, is these nice Ender IO capacitors. Now I'm going to scan for chests again, see where we're at. Okay, so there's some more up here. Sweep this room. And, you know, I'm not going to make you guys watch all of this stuff, but I did think this was interesting. Number one, because scanners are a fairly... Well, that's a nice capacitor for something. Getting lots of nice capacitors down here. I may actually have good use for some of these. So one, if we take a look at the scanners from Scannable. Well, first, they're cheap to make. Nether quartz is about it. So really the only problem you're going to have early game is charging them. And even then, you can probably charge them pretty easy. Let's take a look at, so the blank cards for them are cheap and easy. Either find some green flowers, or you can smelt, or put some cactus in a furnace to get cactus green. The range ones, okay, so the range ones are a little expensive. You might have to dedicate a couple ender pearls to this little project if you're early game. And the object ones are dirt cheap. It's just stone. Monsters. Wonder if I think I can detect fire dragons with these. At least I can the dead ones on the surface. I haven't had any luck finding ones underground. But anyway, there's some good stuff here, and I'm trying to think of creative ways to using it, because finding things in this world is sometimes crazy. Like, I might use this for blazing pyrotheum in the nether. Structures didn't turn out to be that interesting, because a lot of, like, this structure wouldn't show up. Basically, all I found with that was the vanilla temples, the mine shafts, I believe they're called, which are the vanilla mining structures with the, like, rails, the little mazes with the rails and the monsters and the cave spiders, and villages. And usually you can see a village by about the same time as you can scan for a village. So, whoop-de. Let's go ahead and just clean up a few more of these. But this is a nice big dungeon here. I need to remember to throw some speed on my hammer. It's a relatively new hammer, in that I accidentally threw my old hammer in a crucible. So yeah, it definitely needs some. Okay, so we're about done here. So I'm going to go ahead and teleport back up to the top. But I think that having a couple scanners early, and being able to go back and forth between things that you want, not that it takes that long to swap out. They even have, if you take a look at this one, they even have like a little inactive inventory. So like if you have two ranges that you leave in there all the time, and you have like, different monsters in there or different objects, but you could probably get pretty creative about what, especially with the object cards. So lithium ore has really helped me in finding super veins that type of the nuclear craft things. One thing I want to try if I do find some dragons again is can you actually craft those? I think that's sort of an interesting idea. What I'm thinking of is these pile of gold. So one thing that is true of pretty much all the dragons, the fire dragons and whatnot that you see, is that they have piles of gold and the ice dragons have piles of silver. So another thing I could scan for, and it is craftable with 2 gold nuggets apparently, is a pile of gold. So let's see what happens. I think I'm going to go ahead and do that. And place that down. And let's go ahead and I think I have enough for another object card. And again, I'm just doing this experimentation mostly just to so that the next time I'm early game in something with Scannable, that I will know what I'm doing and be able to quickly get good use out of what I think is a really sort of handy mod. So we've made a block, and now I'm going to shift right click on it, pile of gold, and cool. So I'm going to throw that in here, and so then now the next time I have another potential thing. So I think chests are what I'm going to keep scanning for right now, but then if I see some chests, I could also scan for a block of gold. Actually, I'm just going to run around and do the pile of gold for a while. Anyway, I'm going to stop recording this because you guys don't need to see this, but I do think Scannable is just a very powerful tool here, and something that might be worth taking a look at and thinking of creative ways to use it. Setting it to Sea Lantern for finding astral sorcery temples, things like that. But it especially, I think, is useful on looking for things underground. Anyway, something to think about. I'm going to pause here, and just for my own fun, I'm going to go look around the countryside for more things, literally things, in that some of these Ender IO caps are actually very nice, and I wouldn't mind having a few more of them. But if I find anything interesting, like say, troll caves or anything wild and woolly, anything fun, I will turn the camera back on. And if not, when I get sick of this little diversion, we will come back and we will go back to tackling the quest book. Back in a second. Alright, so I flew around for a while. It especially works well if you fly low and fly at night, because it's easy to see the chests, and there is a range going down as well, so I found some chests, flew up, and I was no longer able to see them. So let's see, what is my range on this? I wonder if it actually tells me. Just says it increases the range, so I don't know what my range actually is. I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'm pretty sure it reaches down to bedrock with 2 range things done from at least like 65 to 80 up in the air. So I guess my range would be somewhere between 80 and 100. Anyway, for this late stage in the game, of course, I didn't find a lot of things that I needed, some cyclic charms and etc. in chests. Most of what I found were more of those little dungeons with spawners. I did find one of those ones that's like a blood temple. It was sort of interesting in that it had some sort of portal in it, which I didn't go through because it looked like it was just a standard nether portal. So there was some cool stuff down there. I did not find any ice and fire trolls or dragons or anything like that. I scanned for tiny piles of gold for a while. Didn't see any of that. So most of what I found was just the kinds of dungeons you normally see. For in-game or mid-game type stuff, iridium ore is sort of handy to get some of. But mostly what I was interested in at this point is just a bunch of Ender IO capacitors, because these are a lot better and easier than a lot of the things I have. So for instance, like this 3.33 on my alloy smelter, that's pretty nice. I'll actually use that. A 3.91 and a 3.97, a global of 3.15, so I can put this in damn near any machine and make it faster. 3.05 global, that's nice. An obelisk area. I'm not using an obelisk except for the experience one that doesn't have area, but still sort of cool. Here's one for a combustion generator that's like 4.16. Yeah, so there are the VAT 4.06 sag mill. Putting a 3.76 in a sag mill, yes please, I'll go ahead and do that. Global level of 328, fantastic. Ooh, this one is a global level of 4.05, or a soul binder of 4.25. So this is something that, it's a little late in the game, but I wish I had probably done this 40, 50 episodes ago. I wish I had thought to do this. So it was just sort of fun to see some of the stuff. Like I said, I'd only really seen one of those sort of like blood altar kind of dungeons with all the cages and the cells and the big old skull thing made out of quartz and yada yada. So that was sort of fun. It was a nice diversion. I needed to do something other than crafting because I was going a little stir crazy sitting around the base. So that's a nice little aside. So I can highly recommend using the scanner to scan for, if we look here, to scan for chests. Scanner module block chest. The ice and fire stuff, still having a hard time tracking that down. So I don't know. I'd still sort of like to find a tier 5 dragon underground somewhere. I know they do scan in because I sort of just happened to luck into one when I did a test world for this. So as usual, like I did over here, I just sort of picked a sort of spot and then went down to bedrock, and a dragon started roaring at me. Now I only played that for a couple weeks before deciding to start over and do a playthrough video series. So I never even got to really see him or attack him or see what his loot was or try to get a dragon egg and hatch a dragon egg or any of that stuff. But they should be out there. And there are other things that should be out there, like trolls or myrmeks, which are sort of like insect people, things like that. So I would sort of like to find some more of that ice and fire stuff. So I don't know, maybe I'll just keep looking around. Again, I sort of needed a break. We bashed out a lot of crafting over the last several episodes, so pretty happy with our progress in Blood Magic and Astral, and we bashed out a Botania. So I just sort of feel like I need a palate cleansing bit of adventuring before tackling advanced rocketry. So let me take a look around a bit more. I have a few more ideas for the scanner, and I'll let you know if I find anything more interesting. By George, I think we've done it. So I am scanning for, I decided to pull out the old pile of gold scanner again, and boom, piles o' gold. So that, my friends, is most likely a dragon lair. And that's a lot of piles of gold, so I'm assuming that's a tier 4, tier 5 kind of dragon situation. So yeah, I'm happy that actually worked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to dig down to it. Another reason I was sort of interested in doing this is I sort of want a worthy opponent so I can see how much our new bow is doing and try to get some comparison with our laser gun. But let's get on down there. I'm going to dig down there and set up a base because I want to do some damage comparisons in addition to looting and all that garbage. So let me dig down there and get set up, and I will be right back. Alright, so I didn't want to come straight down on him since I want to get a feel for things through the wall, see if I can hit him with my laser gun through the wall and get a nice clean damage look at what the laser gun is currently doing on a high damage target before we charge in there. So I'm digging down, and we can see he's not all that far down, so he's at like Y, I don't know, maybe Y35-ish. And I hit some charred stone from ice and fire, so I'm going to dig a bit sideways here. Going to take it down to where I'm even with him. So he hasn't seen me because he hasn't started roaring and stuff yet, but it's assuming there's one in there. Which reminds me, the other thing I can do is this guy, if I recall correctly, is still set up for Fire Dragon. So let's give that a scan. There he be, Fire Dragon. So now you can see how that shows up. So cool. Alright, so let's get down sort of on an even plane with this bad boy. Go down a bit more. Let's see if I can see him with my laser gun. No, but most of these boss mobs, especially the ice and fire ones, I can't, they aren't outlined by the Illuminati feature anywho. So another thing we can do is to avoid the chaos and confusion. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and do that, is we can set up a cave illuminator from Astral Sorcery up above this. Let me mark this in my waypoints. New. Dragon lair. Alright, so I'm going to pause. I'm going to go get myself a cave illuminator. So what we can see in there is that since it's probably dark in there, there's going to be lots of other types of monsters in there. And I don't want that kind of chaos going on. So I'm just going to light the place up with a cave illuminator before we even go in there. So I will be back in a moment when I'm ready to make my assault. Well, poop. So one of the things that we need to worry about with doing scanning, apparently, is that if you're flying at high speed over ground, doing tons and tons of scanning, apparently you can cause yourself some little lag and instability issues. So I came back and recorded my assault, and then things got a little laggy, but then I looted the dragon and saw the loot, and the game crashed. So, important safety tip, when you're doing something like this, if you're using the scanner a lot, like I have been just doing, when you find something that you want to truly assault, like say a dragon cave, hit F3 and T, or log out and come back in. Do something like that to make sure you've sort of cleansed your palette before doing your assault. So the annoying thing is that I only successfully picked up 8 dragon bones. It did drop 2 dragon eggs that I saw, but I did not get them. My game crashed right as I was running over to pick them up. I killed it really darn fast, but I did get a feel for what the laser gun is doing. It was doing about 65 per shot, and the thing only had 435 hit points. So it went down pretty quick. Now that is this laser gun, plus I do have some astral sorcery perks with things like, if we take a look here, I have, extra melee and projectile damage and extra stuff. So there is that as well, which could have been causing some of that. But yeah, I was hitting him for about 64, 65 per time, and I hit him 4 or 5 times, and he died. And he died quick enough that I didn't even get around to hitting him with the flux infused bow that we made. But I'm really disappointed we didn't pick up those 2 dragon eggs. I am going to take a look quick through here. We got some tiny piles of plutonium. I don't have my radiation suit on, so I'm not going to pick those up. I'll pick those up. Those are nice. Oh, hey, and there's the loot. Yay. So apparently things are still acting a little funky, but we got 2 bronze dragon eggs. And that was a stage 5 dragon. So we got a heart, which I'm happy about those. So we got 2 dragon eggs. So that's something we can do, is we can see if we can hatch a baby dragon. Now I don't need it as a mount, and I certainly don't need it to guard my base or anything, but it would still be sort of entertaining. Put all this junk in a backup backpack here. I also got a summoning pendulum from random things, so I want to play with that, which is why I left it out. Okay, so we did get the 2 dragon eggs. That makes me happy. Oh man. We are still having some instability and lag, as you can see. So I put everything in there, and now it's back in my inventory again. Let me go ahead and I'm gonna do this. Did I just dupe my time in a bottle? Maybe yes, maybe no. I'm going to go ahead and quit to desktop and load back up. So I'll be back in a moment. Okay, I am back, and I completely closed down Minecraft. I'm going to stick a torch on this bad boy so I know there's plutonium in it. So I totally closed things down, and it seems to be functioning much better now. Where I think I started seeing stability is while I was out flying around. If we go back up to the roof here, is I had flown, in a different area. I had flown off into new chunks that I had never explored before, and I was spamming scanning while flying, while the chunks were still loading up. So it seemed like that's when things started to get slow. So I'm not exactly sure what caused all that lag, but if I had to guess, I would say it was spamming my scanner before chunks had even finished loading for their first time ever. But anyway, that would not discourage me from using scanner from Scannable. Although this, I'm not 100% sure my lag is done. Now some of that, like that little lag pause, may have just been, I've got multiple things running. I'm attempting to record. I'm attempting to upload a video, a past recording to YouTube. I've got a couple other programs running in the background that are unrelated to this whole Minecraft situation. So little pauses like that could just be from that. But we should just check and see how our stability handles here. But the key safety tip is, if you're running around scanning like crazy and you find something cool and neat that you want to assault, like say a tier 5 dragon, just to be on the safe side, you're going to want to probably do a little quit to desktop and log back in. Some Californium. Now, nuclear craft radiation is not turned down in the version of Enigmatica 2 Expert that I downloaded, so we can pick that up. But that would make an excellent RTG for early game or mid game. So I'm not seeing anything new and different in this, other than that because it was a tier 5, we got some dragon eggs. So while I was waiting for Minecraft to boot back up, I did take a look, and basically we need to set those dragon eggs, these guys, into some fire and let them hatch. It's not super clear to me how long that takes. It might take as long as 555 hours, according to the fandom wiki, which is a little daunting because I'm not going to sit there, and I'm not 100% sure it's a tame baby dragon if you're not there when it hatches. So we'll have to sort of keep an eye on that. But yeah, as for hordes go, there's just lots of chests and lots of gold. I probably won't even bother picking up all the gold because we've got tons of it from our void miner, and I don't want to take the time. But I did want to just give you guys, if you're just watching this episode and you haven't seen any of my other dragon fights or seen how this works before, I just want to give you guys a feel for what's in there. We got manuscripts for making your ice and fire book. You get Botania potions quite a bit. You get a lot of actually additions, empowered stuff, which can be handy. That kind of stuff. And again, be careful if you see any tiny piles of plutonium. If you pick them up and you don't have radiation protection, it will give you 2.5 minutes of radiation sickness, which will probably kill you. And that's taking forever since I'm flying. Alright, well anyway, let's just sort of wrap this up. So, there's another tiny pile of plutonium, which we have tons of that back at the base now that we've got our nuclear reactor up and running well. Oops, was there any other ones that I missed here? That's done, that one's done. There's one up here. Alright, close enough. And then this also leads into a mine shaft kind of thing. So, alright. And there's lots of emeralds in the wall, which is sort of nice. I don't think I need any. If there were rubies, I might take some. But yeah, there you go. And this is a lot of gold, actually. It would take a while to mine. And you might be able to destroy it faster with maybe, I don't know if water would sweep it away or what would break it. But it wouldn't surprise me if there was 4 or 5 stacks of gold here, gold bars worth of stuff for gold. But oh, here's one more. Flask of Vigor, Black Iron. Alrighty, so that's about that. We finally found one, so that makes me happy. So let's go ahead and run back to... We got to figure out where we're going to... Actually, let's go ahead and go down here. And let's set up... I should pick up some netherrack or something that will burn. Let's incubate that dragon egg. My strip mine's gotten a little unruly. Okay, whatever. So we want to basically just set up a little area here for our baby dragon. And let's go ahead and set up a little maybe 5x5 with a lit one in the middle. I'm not sure the baby ones can fly. I'm not sure how big the baby ones are. Whatever. Probably overthinking this. I don't even really need a baby dragon for anything. I sort of wanted to do it anyway. So we're going to light that on fire, and we're going to get out one of our dragon eggs and place it there. And is it already moving? Or is it just spinning like it was on a pedestal? It's sort of like wobbling like a weeble, if you're old enough to remember that weebles wobble and don't fall down. Yes, I'm old. Well, it's sort of wobbling, so what I'm going to do is, this is going to take anywhere from a little bit to a long, long time. And I don't want to necessarily miss it if it's going to take a little bit, but I also don't want to stand here a whole long, long time. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is pause the recording and just hang out and watch it for 5 or 10 minutes and see if it hatches. And if it does, I'll turn the camera back on. And if it doesn't, then I'll come back and say, we're not going to wait for this. Let's call it an episode. So I'll be back in a second to give you a progress report. All right, so I am not the mother of dragons. After a couple minutes, I realized I had to go to the bathroom. So I chunk loaded the chunk that the dragon egg was in, and because this area isn't completely lit and I didn't want to get attacked or didn't want to do anything, I just teleported over to my base real quick, went to the bathroom, and came back, and the egg was gone. So I don't know if it hatched, and because there wasn't a player nearby, it disappeared, or I don't know what happened, but no baby dragon. So I got a second egg to give this another try. So I think depending on your version of ice and fire, you might also be able to hatch dragon eggs just by dropping them in water. I'm guessing that's not going to work for us, because it said that that was instant. So I think the key here is, let's try this again. So the other thing it says is that if it's moving, then it's close to hatching. And ours was definitely wobbling and weebling. So I think we were close to hatching, and I probably just missed it when I went to the bathroom. So we're going to light it. It's moving. And this time, I'm not going to go anywhere for a while. It was only like, I don't know, 3 to 5 minutes before I wandered off the first time. So I'll just sit here and watch it for 10 or 15 minutes and see if it hatches. And I will turn the camera back on if something interesting happens. Hey, it just hatched. Neat. Ooh, and you can put the baby on your shoulder. Let's take a look at that. It's so cute. so that took, let's see, it took about 5 minutes, 5 or 6 minutes. So I saw somewhere somebody said it took like 555 hours. So it wouldn't surprise me if it took, 5 minutes, 55 seconds or something like that. Oh, is it still with me? Where'd it go? I think it fell off. There it is. Come here, you. What is your dealio? Okay, it's back on my shoulder. Let's see if it lasts through teleport. Let me take it outside. Hey, okay, we teleported it outside. See if we can set it down in the courtyard. Alright, so crouching apparently made it come off. Yeah, so hitting shift made it come off. Is there a way to get it to sit or to stay still? Shift right click gave me information about it. It's wandering. Does it follow me? I don't know. Doesn't necessarily seem to be following me. Let's give it, oops. Oh, so I logged out and back in, so that broke my, my quantum link to my underground base. I really need to figure out what's buggy there and fix it. Alright, so there, now I can get into my ME system again. So basically my workaround is I just keep an extra wireless access there. Let's go find our dragon. What are you doing, buddy? Okay, so I think the next thing we need to do is at ice and fire. There is a dragon flute, I think, that you can craft that may let you summon it or something. Let's go flute. So we can craft that. I don't know what, if anything, that is doing. If you right click on it, it plays. So the other thing is there is a dragon meal you can use to make it grow bigger, and that's bone and food. I thought you could use grubs for that. I actually saved a whole bunch of grubs. So let's see, bone. I have a few bones, so that's good. So early in this playthrough, I was using Pam's Harvest Craft bees to make slime for my slime pick and to repair my slime pick. And one of the things I got from that was a whole bunch of grubs. I should have a lot more than that. Let's see if this works. Oh yeah, there we go. Whoa, and it just ate a bunch of stuff. And alright, so the OR dictionary apparently is in effect here, and anyway, we've got a stack of this. I tell you what, we're getting long in this episode, so where'd it go? I'm all paranoid that it's going to wander off. There it is. It's just sort of wandering around. So I'm going to end this episode. So 2 thumbs up for the scanner once again. You just have to be creative about how you use it. I think the key for the scanner is just picking things that give you a very recognizable pattern. So it's not good enough to, like, just scan for something little. You want lots of white dots to appear. You sort of need to know where to look and what kind of pattern to look for. But and then the important safety tip of if you're spamming your scanner and you start getting laggy, probably better log out and log back in, or close down Minecraft and come back in, relaunch it before doing anything that you care about. So for now, I'm going to end this episode, and next episode will be all about, we will pick a name for the dragon, and we will feed it and try and get it to grow, and we will try to figure out more things we can do with the baby dragon. So I will talk to you next time. Bye.